Okay, so let's take a look a little bit on how to navigate inside of Unity, 3D navigation in the scene view, how to find objects, how to locate things. Just one of the basic skills that are necessary to, get good at in order to feel comfortable making content. So as you probably know, here in the left side, you have the hierarchy, which contains everything that's inside your scene. In EducationXR, we have this module as well as these cores and models. This is the structure that you're always going to see, and then inside models you'll put whatever you want. But let's say that I want to navigate over there to this area where the oil is. First of all, let's talk about the navigation controls inside the scene view. If you press the right button, you go into sort of view mode, and then you can look around with your mouse while your right button is clicked. Okay. If I let go, I go back to normal mode. Now, if I use my wheel in my mouse, I can zoom in or zoom out very easily. It just goes in a straight line. So I can easily use this to just, right click, rotate, zoom in. This is the easiest way to, find yourself around and get closer to things. This works really well, but sometimes you get like here and you want to adjust your view a little bit more. There's another control that I use all the time, and at this point I use it without realizing that I'm using it. And it's if you press the wheel button. If you keep the wheel button pressed, it turns into this panning mode where you can just grab your view around, right? So I can go right, left, up, or down. So instead of rotating and looking around, when you press the wheel, you can, do small adjustments. So if I come here and I just need to adjust a little bit, I can just press my wheel button and adjust my view. Now, let's say that I know that I just want to grab this object right here. If I select it, as soon as I select an object, it gets selected in the hierarchy. If I press the F button, the F key in my keyboard, while I have something selected, it will focus it into view. And that's super helpful, right? Because it gets your view super close. And then from there, you can do adjustments. You can just, again, the same thing I did. Just move your camera and pan around to adjust. Is very helpful. Now, there might be situations where you know the object right here, but you cannot find it in the screen. So for example, let's say that I'm looking for this traffic cone, right? And I don't know where it is. I can do two things. I can select it, hover over the scene view and press F, which will focus it automatically. Or you can also double click on it in the hierarchy. So if you double click, it does the same thing. So it's a way to find objects and focus them either by pressing the F button or by double clicking. So we have those two ways. Now, there are instances where you have huge hierarchy, like we have in this case, and I select this object and I'm lost. I don't know where in the hierarchy is, but I have selected it in the scene view. If I want to find it in the hierarchy, I can do an analogous thing. I can hover over the hierarchy and press F, which will show me where in the hierarchy is. So look at that again. If I scroll down, so this object is not in view in the hierarchy. When I press F, the hierarchy moves up to show me that object. Perfect. So to recap, we learned about a few controls. We can look around, we can zoom in and zoom out, and I can press my wheel button to pan around. So right click to look around, wheel button to pan around, and zoom in and zoom out the wheel. Now this is very good already. It gives us a lot of tools to move around, as well as being able to focus on the objects with the F key, right? But we have more freedom, as a matter of fact. When you press the right button in your mouse and you're in this view mode, you have further controls with W, A, S, D, Q, and E. So this is kind of like a flying mode. So while you have the right click, the right button of your mouse click, you can fly by pressing W, you can fly back by pressing S, you can fly to the right by pressing D, you can fly to the left by pressing A, and you can do Q to go down and E to go up. It's kind of like an FPS video game, right? WSAD, except you also have Q and E to go up and down because you're flying in space. And that is a really nice way to navigate the scene, because once you get good at that, look at me. I can just fly around however I want. I only have my right button press and I can just go anywhere I want, you know? Let's say that I want to focus on this little light right here. But maybe this little light, you see, is not an object that I can focus on because it's part of a bigger mesh. So if I press F, I focus on the whole thing. So I need to make adjustments. So I can just fly myself there this way and pan a little bit, zoom a little bit. And once I get good at all those combinations of controls, that's all I need to really navigate the 3D scene view. And honestly, that's like the hardest skill, I would say. Not hardest, but like the one that takes a little bit longer to get used to. But once you do, you know, it's fantastic because it allows you to create content so fast. Seriously. Don't underestimate the value of this skill and practice it, you know, play with it. I like to, you know, tell people to fly around, find some objectives for yourself, focus on object, adjust, and do things like that.